Good afternoon, Shavua Tov everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rodine Marks, your host, bringing you the top stories from Israel and the region every Monday to Thursday right here, and also on YouTube. You can find us at the Israel Brief, and while you're there, click on the big red subscribe button. You know you want to. But let's take a look at those top stories, and what is becoming our favorite trend here in Israel is we are discussing ongoing normalization between Israel and the Arab world. And on Friday night, quite late, it was announced formally that the Sudan had agreed to normalize ties with the state of Israel. This is the third country to join the Circle of Peace, and it is estimated, at least by US President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Netanyahu, that more countries will be joining and therefore changing the region. So let's take a look at what happened. We've heard the murmurings and we've heard the movement moving up to this part, and last week we discussed that only if President Trump took the Sudan off the terror list would they possibly normalize. This has been confirmed by the Sudan. They say that they have normalized ties with Israel because they want to be taken off the terror list, and they also want to look after their economy. And as a show of goodwill, Israel has sent $5 million worth of wheat to the Sudan to help their people. So we are celebrating peace in Israel. We've started to hear from Sudanese civilians who are very, very happy. Although we must remember, not everybody is happy. This might not be as warm a peace as we have with Bahrain or the United Arab Emirates, because there are still elements within the Sudanese government and Sudanese society who aren't so happy about this. But what it does do is it sends a message out to groups like Hamas and other terror groups that Israel is a reality in the region. It is recognized as a reality in the region, and this is not going to change. Meanwhile, yesterday Israel's Knesset ratified its agreement with the Kingdom of Bahrain, and we look forward to growing ties between the two countries. Also signed was a memorandum of understanding between Bahrain and the United States to help fight anti-Semitism. This is a major game changer in the region, because not only will the Bahrain adopt IRA, which is the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance's definition of anti-Semitism, but it also goes a long way to fighting back against claims that Israel is not a legitimate state, or certainly not the legitimate state of the Jewish people, which is anti-Semitic, and to fight some of the rhetoric that has grown in the region. In other news, Israel is slowly and cautiously starting to lift out of the COVID-19 lockdown as we hopefully are exiting our second wave, and the number of infections is coming down, which is a very good sign. And the Health Ministry, along with the Education Ministry, have taken the decision to open grades 1 to 4 starting on Sunday. The government is still expected to reach a decision whether or not they will open malls and shops for commerce. And it has been confirmed that on the 1st of November, Israel will start human trials for its vaccine known as BriLife. And in other news, the IDF conducted their largest drill for 2020, maybe a little bit smaller than drills in the past, but given the global situation and circumstances this year, the IDF simulated a possible wartime scenario with Hezbollah. And Defense Minister Benny Gantz said it's very, very important that the IDF trains and practices in order to maintain operational capabilities. So those are the top stories making headlines in Israel and the region. And don't forget that you can check out our original content online at Lay of the Land at www.layoftheland.online. While we're talking normalization, it might be a pipe dream for Israel to have these ties with the Palestinians just yet, but you can read about an incredible project called Project Rosanna that brings together medical professionals from the Palestinian territories with Israeli experts, where they receive very important training. This is also on our Facebook page. While you're there, give us a like, give us a follow, share the content. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and interact with us on Twitter. You can find us at Lay of the Land with the digit 5. So with the Monday edition of the Israel Brief, I'm Rolene Marks. We'll chat again tomorrow.